I think one of the hardest parts of being an entrepreneur, there's a couple really nice perks of being an entrepreneur in that you can set your own schedule. You can kind of set your own salary to a certain extent, depending on how hard you work and what model you make up. But there are a couple challenges, like when you do things that challenge the status quo, that change the way things are being done, naturally there's going to be a little bit of opposition and misunderstandings where people might not understand what you're doing. Like the first time we did video interviews with returned missionaries, like no one else was doing them, and I still think no one else is really doing them, but um, like there could be misunderstandings like, oh, like, can you share your testimony online? Like, is that allowed? Or can you, like, are you stepping over someone's toes and like, sharing stuff about the mission? Like, what if missions don't want that? Or like, there's different fears and concerns and misunderstandings that people might have that might make them not be supportive of the project initially. But then when they see the fruits of the project and see it kind of develop and what it's really about and the effect it really has, you don't really find those problems much. And I just remember there's a couple times, I won't name off any names or anything, but there was a couple times where it was called into question, like, are you doing this for the right reasons? Or, are you like being a radical, like, rebel against the church, doing something like you're like being led by an evil spirit, or like, that kind of thought, like, are you doing something right? Are you doing something wrong? Calling that into question, like, are you off your rocker? And I remember there is kind of at the beginning of it, over time I've gained more and more confidence in what we're doing. But at the beginning, I still wasn't exactly sure what we were doing. And it led to a lot of prayer and a lot of crying, praying, like expressing to the Lord like how I didn't want to do anything wrong. I just wanted to do what His will was for me. And that was very hard. But once I overcame that, I had a newfound confidence, because I'm like, well, I went to the Lord and I'm confident that I should be working on this at this point in my life. And that confidence has carried me through, and it grows stronger as I do these interviews and I hear these amazing stories and see how it's benefiting different people. My confidence is waxing stronger in the concept, in the service, and my testimony is growing as well. Anyway, but I'd say that's probably one of the hardest things, just like misunderstandings of maybe close family or friends or other friends that, they might judge you or might not trust you or might doubt or fear. I've noticed that when you do different things, a lot of people's natural reactions is to doubt and to call it into question and say it's not possible. And at first that might be kind of hard, and it might require some soul searching, but after a while I think it adds like fuel to your fire as an entrepreneur. Like someone says it can't be done, and you're like, oh, you watch, it's gonna be done. And I've also noticed that as an entrepreneur, if you do things online, especially like we upload so many clips about Joseph Smith and the Book of Mormon, and we get lots of haters, lots of like anti people who say very mean things, and people have misunderstandings and whatnot. But it helps you also develop a thick skin in that you become resilient if you know you're doing what's right and someone comes after you and calls you an evil person and starts swearing at you left and right, you realize, you know what? If they want to respond that way, like, that's totally fine. Like, I'm not going to pay attention to them, because if you think of Lehi's vision of the tree of life, when they partake of the fruit, there's a whole group of people pointing the finger and mocking and saying like, don't do that, you're stupid, or you're mean, or you're evil. Like, and the people who are eating it, those who paid attention, they fell away. And I kind of feel like it's the same way. Like, if you know the Heavenly Father wants you to do a certain thing, and if you do that thing, it doesn't matter what the people pointing at you are saying. So like right now, I don't even, if I see a really nasty message or comment, I'll just delete it. Like, I don't need to pay attention to what Satan's trying to get into my heart to try to weaken me or add doubts. It's just not worth it. And it really doesn't matter what people think. As long as you're doing what's right, it doesn't matter if family or friends or other people don't agree with you or don't understand you. As long as you know you're doing okay in the Lord's eyes, you're doing okay. So I'd say that's probably the hardest thing is just kind of opposition, misunderstandings as an entrepreneur. And maybe people, this is actually hard, but it's kind of comical how many people will, tell you how you're missing out on life if you could have a bigger paycheck, doing another job. But I really feel like my life is so happy and so purposeful and meaningful because I'm doing something, even if it means I'm making $10,000 or $20,000 a year instead of making, 50, 60, 70, $80,000 a year or whatever. But yeah, life is good as an entrepreneur overall. Very good.